Hi there, Debbie Nigro, Chief Executive Girlfriend, FirstWivesWorld.com. Okay, today's topic, 2 homes, 1 set of rules, and 5 tips on making sure everything is unified and everybody's on the same page. Our guest is Scott Haltzman. He's a clinical assistant professor at Brown University, Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior, an author, and a good friend. Welcome today.
Great to be here, Debbie.
Glad to have you. 5 tips. Very important tips on making unified family rules. This is like hard. Number 1, they want you to give children time to make the transition to new homes. Who are these people? What are you saying to this?
Well, don't forget that when children move to 2 different homes, they have to make each one of those homes their own. But you can't expect that to happen too quickly. It's not possible to ask a child to move from where he or she had been into a new place and expect everything to fall into order. What happens is parents sometimes push that, and you can't push it.
Your opinion, should the other home look like their home they live in? Should there be similar things in both places?
If parents could agree on what the house should look like, they probably wouldn't have been divorced in the first place.
Good answer. Number 2, establish a visitation schedule, including daily phone calls, and stick with it.
Yeah.
It's like anything else. It's hard to stick with a routine.
Right. I mean, everybody says, this is what I'd like to do, this is what would be best for the child, and then, boom, it's time to actually enact it. And you've got to follow through with what those plans are. Not only is it important for your ex, but it's critically important for your kids. They got to know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there.
Because it's very disappointing. They think they're going to Daddy's, and all of a sudden Daddy's got a trip he forgot about.
Yeah, you may have every excuse in the world that has nothing to do with your child.
Right.
But your child's going to take that personally.
Also, what happens is the other spouse makes plans. They have a free weekend and a moment or a free night, and they take advantage of it for themselves, and then all of a sudden they're back to square one.
See, but that's part of the problem. As the ex, I don't really care what my ex is doing.
Right.
And so I don't think that's really, I think it's absolutely important to keep in mind, but we need to focus on the children here.
Very
and realize
important.
These kids need to know where you're going to be.
Okay, good. Number 3, maintain each household as a true home of your child with similar rules in each one.
Right.
What are the top rules that you'd like to see enacted from your perspective that work, that are easy to enforce?
I think the most important rules are the real obvious ones, like respect and listening to parents. I can't tell you all the couples that I see that when they separate, the kids, they start to get gutter mouths or talk badly toward their parents or talk badly toward their siblings. I say, absolutely not. You've got to treat every person in that household with respect and dignity. It's what you expect, and it's what your kids expect back.
Well, that gutter mouth thing is a big problem.
I swear, I didn't say those words.
No,
oh, you didn't mean with me?
No,
okay.
I mean it really is. I've seen many kids
Absolutely.
in many households. This is a real problem.
It is.
How do you solve that problem, just quickly, as long as we're on the topic?
I don't have a quick solution to the gutter mouth problem.
It used to be ivory soap, by the way.
Yeah, well, and then those ivory soap kids are now the ones that are cursing themselves. I think the number 1 solution is not to have a gutter mouth yourself. And also, be careful what you're exposing your kids to. I think too much of this television and too many movies that they can get on DVD, watch over and over, it just makes every bad word in the world sound like it's just normal speech, and it ain't.
Number 4, be open-minded and flexible when dealing with your ex.
I think that we get stuck because on one hand I'm saying, make sure that you're there when and where you say you're going to be there. Right. On the other hand, I'm saying, be flexible. My point of view is that we're human beings. We're not schedulers. We're not Palm Pilots. We actually have lives. But if your ex has to change her schedule for some reason or his schedule, be willing to work with that person because the kids need to learn flexibility as well as rules.
And it will happen on the other side at some point. You'll need the chit.
Exactly, the chit.
Yeah. And 5, be alert to signs of children's emotional distress and be very prepared to seek professional help. Right. This is one that is awkward if sometimes parents don't have enough money. It's not covered by insurance. They don't know who to call. Who are you going to call? They feel embarrassed if I ask for help. They feel inept.
And
all those things.
Often they get into conflict with their ex because she wants to take the kid to a psychiatrist. He says, over my dead body.
Yeah.
You've got all of those complications involved. But I think it's easier to look at the barriers. The place to start, in my opinion, is to bring your child to the pediatrician and talk a little bit about what he or she is going through and say, hey, look, this is what my kid's going through. Is that normal? And if the pediatrician's concerned, he or she will make a recommendation that will make sense.
There's a final point that wasn't addressed, and that is money. in both households. I don't want to get too into the whole money thing, but in terms of financial rules in spoiling kids at one house or the other, is there a way to keep some sort of consistency?
I think that is difficult because, again, if this is one of those things couples could agree on, they frequently would still be together. And money is one of the hot button issues for couples. What my recommendation is that each parent has to make clear what their values are and be consistent within their own values. If I've got $1 million and I want to get my kid a 50-inch TV, that's okay for me to do that. But my ex may look at that differently, and whatever her values are, she needs to live out in her house.
Not if the kid brings home the 50-inch TV. Then then it works out a lot better. Thank you, Scott Haltzman, so much for being with us
Wonderful
today. Very important information and some that I think will be making a lot of people's lives a lot smoother. Thank you.